question is, how does our media represent particular social groups? So our media represents particular social groups by conforming to stereotypes such as age, gender and criminal minds. In order to achieve verisimilitude, we had to conduct research into particular stereotypes, for example looking at newspaper articles about hoodies, which we established into a moral panic so that we could establish an accurate representation, and also we attended local gigs where teenagers socialised to see what the trends were of particular people. Once we had conformed to the stereotype of the social group correctly within our opening sequence, we had to ensure that we included the correct characteristics of the social group consistently throughout the film. So we have represented the male character with part of this moral panic as he wears his hood up to conceal his identity, so that in the fictional narrative he does not get caught by the police, though this is also a dramatic device to create tension to conform to the genre conventions of thought.
However, we chose the female character, Victim, as someone who juxtaposes the antagonist and is really innocent. All of the female characters are wearing fashionable clothing, who have curled their hair and are wearing lots of makeup to conform to the stereotypical views of teenage girls. 1/3 of teenage girls has an eating disorder, and we wanted to conform to the fact that a teenage girl feels more anxious about their appearance and therefore they feel the pressure to fit in. Furthermore, their cream-coloured dresses connote their innocence, which makes the audience sympathise with the females further. The cream and white florals juxtapose with the dark, large coat worn by the antagonist, which therefore enhances their innocence.
Moreover, we conformed to the old-fashioned gender stereotypes with the opening sequence by camera angles. We analysed Titanic. Within the narrative, the female character Rose represents a stereotypical way how women were treated within 1912, a time where British women were battling with Parliament for the right to vote, which was the women's suffrage. Women were stereotypically considered to be inferior to men. So, for example, within Titanic, Rose wasn't allowed to talk much and wasn't allowed to participate within what was seen as male activities such as poker. And within the 1900s, women were seen as housekeepers and were rarely allowed to work. To conform with this stereotype, we used high-angle camera shots from the addict's perspective so that he was metaphorically and physically looking down on the female characters.
As you can see from the picture here.
Whilst undergoing casting, we chose actors with a significant height difference, and we chose a rugby player as our antagonist. As a result of this, the framing of our characters would portray the antagonist to be taller and stronger than the victims, to therefore represent our representation of power and dominance.
Similar to this, the height difference also represents the age of the characters. We wanted the antagonist to be slightly older than the victims to enhance their vulnerability, to conform to the purpose of a thriller, which is to intrigue and shock the audience. We wanted to include an age difference due to psychological factors. Milgram, 1961, conducted a study into obedience. He found that people obey an authority figure. Therefore, the use of an age difference within our opening sequence represents that people obey to an authority figure as they are afraid of what they could potentially do to them.
Since our narrative is so extreme in terms of violence, it's difficult to classify our antagonist as a particular social group. However, he could be placed into the category of a criminal. We were inspired by State of Play because the murder occurs in an alleyway. Therefore, we wanted to conform to the stereotype of antisocial behaviour happens in a deserted place. As a result, we chose our setting to conform with the criminal's social group by choosing a forest location. We chose this since it is in solitude compared to the thriving places such as a city centre where there'd be lots of witnesses to crimes. It's quite psychologically messed up, so I doubt that he'd have a particular social group because people wouldn't want to hang around with him, and he'd want to seclude himself compared to everyone else.
He's in a lone social group by himself.
Yes, in solitude.
He's a bit of a loner.
But I think he'd want to do that because obviously he feels a lot of violence, and obviously his relationship with humans isn't very good as it kills them all. And particularly women as well.
He doesn't have any friends, and maybe he even has trauma in the past.
Could have done. guess that's what we developed within our narrative.
Yeah.
It was going to be made into a full film. I think we tried to convey the innocence more for like the girls, and say like we used on the a sequence where we have lots of photographs. We used quite a lot of pictures of like the girls enjoying themselves, like say like dancing with friends. So I guess that shows that
they're from like a more friendly, common, normal
normal
social
social groups. Because I think throughout our work we really did juxtapose the difference between sort of like normal society compared with sort of like psychologically messed up people with mental illnesses.
Yeah.
We said that perhaps we should have used, say, like a dog as a prop to make it look as if it was more realistic of why they were walking through the woods.
But
however, we did choose the location so
they
that
were walking home from
there was like there was houses quite nearby, perhaps I don't know, about half a mile, maybe less than that away. So we could say that it could have been a shortcut for them to get home. But I think we could have improved by using a dog, because it's a bit more likely that someone would walk through the woods alone with a dog.
This could also like act as a warning, maybe warning people of a similar age not to walk through the woods at night by themselves, because there's a lot of dangerous consequences, such as murderer.
I think that the woods have sort of always been stereotypical as a place where you shouldn't go. So even in Harry Potter.
Yeah, even in Harry Potter, was it called the Forbidden Forest?
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically forests are just associated with bad places, which is why we chose it, to conform to our narrative ideology.